Ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching our station at the entrance to Main Street, USA, gateway to the 7 theme lands of the Magic Kingdom.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Hello and welcome to Behind the Dreams podcast. My name is Jordan Wiegand, and with me today is Jack. How are you today, Jack?
Good. Even though I had so many audio issues before trying to record, and currently I'm wearing a sock over my head because the headphones that I have to use do not have any padding on them. So if you're watching the video and you're like, does that guy have a sock on his head? Yes, I do.
It's been a long day for Jack already.
Yes,
at this point.
It's been a long day and it's 3 p.m. for me. So
at least it's a Saturday.
That's true.
But,
this is true.
Yeah, I don't know that. Not a great start or continuation of Jack's day, I guess. We are here to talk all about D23 and the park news that comes along with that. I think we'll also be ranking some stuff, right? At the end. At the end of the list.
Yeah, a top 5 of things, of at least from the parks presentation, I think.
Yeah, which is great because I don't have a top 3 ready. So this is going to be it's going to be something that I have to do on the fly here because I just totally forgot that's the route we were going with this.
Yeah, I just did it as soon as we talked about it, and I'm looking back at it now, and we'll see if it changes as we talk through things, you know?
Yeah, so not a great day for me either. Okay. We are going to talk some D23. Overall, I wanted to just kind of get your thoughts first before we really dive into this. Just, what did you make of D23 for... what year is this? 2022. This is the first one since the first one since 2019.
Yep, that sounds right.
Before COVID.
Yes. My thoughts on it, I know some people were disappointed with it because they saw it as not getting a ton of new stuff. And I kind of get that to an extent. But at the same time, I think they're forgetting that, Disney just went through the COVID pandemic, right? And had to deal with a lot of stuff. I think what they gave us, given the circumstances, is pretty good, giving some opening dates, some new shows, and some new stuff overseas as well. I think there was some interesting stuff there. Disney World fans might have been starving, but Disneyland fans were eating good.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that it was, I would say, heavily leaning one way here with the parks, and that is for Disneyland, which, again, I don't really blame them for. But I could see that it would hurt, right? I think I could see that it would hurt a bit if you've been waiting this whole time for news. I mean, really, we're thinking about 3 years, right? 3 years of absolutely no news. I mean, obviously, actually, the Tiana thing was announced mid-COVID.
Right, yeah.
But that was kind of like it. And they really only said, like, it's coming, right? And then as we see, they actually changed a lot of what that's going to look like. What it looks like with, what I mean by that, like, there's no more boat at the, like the top of the um where Splash
Yeah, where
is.
the
There's
log, like that log, that part's gone from the top up there.
Yes, yeah, that's gone. Yeah, it's a little, and I think people found that a little disheartening, I guess you would say, right?
Yeah,
Is they're like, I hope this is not just like budget cuts, and that's something that we're kind of coming to at certain times because of the CEO in charge and kind of what he's famous for, right? And I think it makes a lot of people very, very skeptical occasionally with that type of thing. So I'm going to be interested to see how that actually turns out after a certain time. But that's not going to be the bulk of our conversation today. But just my thoughts are, hey, um, this is a rough time period. I understand that Disney has more money than most people, so you're probably like, well, why is this a big problem for Disney? Um, well, they had just launched a streaming service which they had put tons of money into, just absolutely like silly money into. And for a while during the pandemic, that was like the only part that was profitable at all. Um, so for me, I've kind of been like, we're not getting any, you know, my mind was more like, we're not getting any big news for a long, long time. Um, but other people kind of thought differently about that, and thought maybe we would get a little luckier with some of the news. But I was going in thinking we're not getting any news. Like literally, that was my thought. We're getting updates on stuff that already existed. Is kind of what I went into this with, and I was wrong. Now, of course, I don't really understand the big problems people had with D23 just off the bat. People saying, oh, we got absolutely nothing, because I went in with that expectation, right? I went in with the expectation of we're not going to get a lot of stuff here. But I, so maybe I was pleasantly surprised. I think for us getting more than we thought, I was actually surprised by some of the reaction, I guess I would say.
I think that's fair. I thought it was it was a little bit it was a little bit over the top, the reactions. Like I
Mm-hmm.
I kept seeing people saying like, "Oh, this is why Universal is doing better than Disney and is going
Yep,
to
yep, I saw
be
that too.
better in the long term." No. Just because Universal is building a theme park does not automatically make them better than Disney. In fact, they're still trying to catch up to Disney because that's their third park. So Disney's at 4, and they're adding still a lot of new stuff. Uh, just because they didn't announce like a new park and a new land and like 17 new rides doesn't mean that this was disappointing. It means that you set your expectations a bit too high. I think that's what I would say to people saying it.
Yeah.
I will say I get the criticism a little bit with there being a bit too much focus on music. Maybe there were a lot of musical performances, which
what we have what we have to remember is that this is ultimately for the people that are there, right?
this is true.
This is ultimately for the people that are there. The people that are there are going to be the ones actually experiencing musical numbers. I saw people losing their minds at the fact that we saw the Captain America, I Can Do This All Day. That one was not even streamed, by the way. That Marvel panel wasn't even streamed, and people were freaking out like, we don't want to see this. We want to see other stuff. And I'm like, you don't matter. You're not the one there, and they're not actually broadcasting this. They don't care what you want.
Yeah.
They know the news is going to leak out. So they don't actually care. They're going to do their performances. This is special for the people that are in and actually paid money to get the D23.
Also, it was good and it was funny, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I think that's good. I did like I liked the musical stuff. I also heard people like I can't remember what the song was. They played it at the very end of it. It was the song for the new, I think, parade at Disneyland, I
Mm-hmm.
want to say.
Yeah, something
And
like
people
that.
were not happy. They're like, "Oh, this song is terrible." I didn't think it was that bad. I think people were overreacting a lot. But hey, it's the internet, and people are going to overreact regardless.
Yeah,
So
I find that with everything though. Like, there'll be times where I'm like bopping to something, and people are like, "This is awful." Like,
yeah,
like park wise, and I'm like, I don't know. I thought that was okay.
yeah,
Not sure why we're having like the highest of standards for some of the stuff. It's a parade, or it's
yeah.
whatever.
It's a parade that's going to be gone within like
By the time
a
I get to
few
go down
years.
and see it,
Yeah, it within like the next 2 years, it's going to be gone. So like, you don't need to worry about it.
yeah, yeah. Because I saw some people saying, "Well, now I don't have to go to Disney because they didn't announce anything." And I thought that was a little strange.
Yeah, they still announced quite a bit of stuff. Maybe just not massive like earth shattering stuff, I guess. I think people were expecting like, a Galaxy's Edge type reveal, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we're going to get the next Galaxy's Edge and it's going to be amazing and awesome.
Now, do you
I mean,
think expectations rose a bit when Bob on Friday says, "Hey, on Sunday we're announcing a new ride in Disneyland for Avengers"? Do you think people then start thinking like, "Oh, okay, well they're actually going to announce a fair bit if they're going to give us that little nugget ahead of time"?
maybe, but also, I think it was still like, just to get people interested, boost up the numbers, get people to watch it. I don't know. I can see why that would lead people to think that, but also I think it was meant to be more of a teaser, like, oh yeah, we're announcing something new in Avengers Campus.
Yeah, so tune in. Yeah,
Yeah. So
I
I
think
think
people may have
yeah.
took that as, "Oh, well they wouldn't have shared that if that's the only thing," right?
No, they
Like,
shared it because people like Marvel and they wanted
yes,
Marvel fans to tune into the Parks panel. I think that's it. I honestly think that's the reason why. And it's smart if that's the reason why.
so let's get into some of this announcements. We have it broken up by park here, or by resort. So let's get into Disneyland. Mando and Grogu coming to Galaxy's Edge. This has been rumored for quite a while, so I'm happy to see this is coming through. I hope this means it's coming to Galaxy's Edge in Walt Disney World at some point. But I always thought, okay, we're gonna keep this Batu area um, in uh, the sequel trilogy timeline was dumb anyway. Star Wars Weekends was a blast because people got to see characters from the Clone Wars. They got to see characters from the prequels and the originals, and then they got to see Mickey Mouse as Luke Skywalker or whatever. But with the announcement of the land, I think everybody thought, okay, well, you can set this anywhere really, and just have any character appear. We don't need to worry about canon. But they're like in this phase where they're still like, no, we got to worry about canon for everything, and we're making a whole story. And while that's fun and while that's fine, and I like all that stuff, I love the sequels. It's very limiting. And when you have a hit that came out of nowhere like The Mandalorian, I think Disney started scrambling because
You got to capitalize.
they said we've actually been working to do this since 2019. You know what came out in 2019? The Mandalorian, right?
Yeah.
So I think once that hit and Baby Yoda became popular, they're like, we got to get something in the parks with these guys.
Yeah. And hey, they did. And they said that it's going to be there starting November. And I hope that extends after, because I'm going to be in Disneyland right before New Year. So I'm going to be there for 3 days. And I know my family is not going to want to go it like near it. They don't care for Star Wars. That's fine. But I want
not
to
fine.
see. I want to. I want to see Mando, and I especially want to see the animatronic of Grogu, because it's like a full animatronic that they have of him.
Yeah.
Like, it's impressive. I wish it was like in the little like buggy type thing that, but I
Car
mean,
seat.
yeah, making that might be a little bit more complex. I like him in the little pouch as well. I think that's kind of cute. So,
That's good too, because he'll be probably roaming around. They'll be
Yeah.
able to roam him around instead of like the Star-Lord Baby Groot thing was like in at Hollywood Studios. It was like in where like the Jack Sparrow thing used to be or whatever, you know.
oh yeah, okay.
It was like in there, and you had to go right near One Man's Dream, and you go in there, and he's, Baby Groot stationary. He's moving around a bit, but he's not like doing a lot, right? But if you have Baby Yoda in the pouch, Mando can just walk around like he did on stage coming out.
Yeah,
And
was that like the predecessor to the launch bay? Is that he was at?
No, it was just like it was that One Man's Dream.
Oh, okay.
Right by
Okay.
Toy Story Land.
Okay.
There was like a little spot there for meet and greets. At one point they had,
okay.
I think it was like 2017. Yeah, it would have been around 2017, 2018 that they had Baby Groot with Star-Lord. I got my picture with him, so I know I have that. But yeah, he wasn't like, they were stationary. They weren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
But Disneyland is notorious for roaming characters, so I think it works well for them there.
And then another roaming character at Disneyland or California Adventure, Hulk. He's finally here at Avengers Campus. They had Mark Ruffalo come on and introduce the idea, and honestly, it's been needed for a time, right? Like, he's like the main iconic character that has been missing from Avengers Campus. And I know
they've been wondering, how to do it. I think that's what they were wondering.
And the way they made it, like I think it was easily like 10 feet tall or something. This Hulk character, right? Like,
well, I gotta share this picture. Go ahead, keep talking.
Yeah.
I'll add it on here.
Like, they have him in his quantum uniform, I guess you could say, from Avengers Endgame, but it's like massive. And Imagineering has been experimenting with these giant suits that you could like use for meet and greets for a while. Like, they shared concept art for it, or like some prototypes of it, I think back in like 2020, 2021 earlier. I think it was in like that behind the Imagineering story documentary that they have on Disney Plus, that they showed some clips showing that. And I mean, it looked a little goofy because they chose to do some voiceover. Yep, there's the guy right there. There he is. He's huge.
It's a little goofy, right? And I think where it came from is like the pauses while he answers and they react was a little. And the fact, I think the reason why they did it was like this is they don't have to worry about the mouth moving, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I think it looks pretty cool still. That he's huge, but unfortunately it sounds like it's not going to be like a long-term thing from what it sounds like, which is unfortunate because I would have loved to go see Hulk at Avengers Campus, who is quite possibly twice the height of me. That would be incredible to see.
Well, that's probably why they had to probably pay 2 CPs to stand on top of each other.
It's the old it's the old trench coat, 2 people standing on top of each other.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. Someone's the legs, someone's the arms.
I do wonder how this worked. I do.
Yeah.
As somebody that worked at the parks and knows like okay, the people that are cast as like Goofy are usually also cast as Woody. Like very tall characters. Who do they got in here? Where can they look out of? Like where are they at?
Yeah,
that's what I want to know.
That's a good question. Like, because I don't think it's the helmet and the eyes, right? Like,
no,
because
I'm assuming it might be. Geez, it could be the stomach right here with the light blue, the light gray.
Yeah, maybe. Is
that mesh enough? I don't know.
Well, you take the next the next thing, like that keeps us in Avengers Camp is I'm gonna take a look at and see how they might
see
have
if you
done that.
can zoom in or something. All right, yes, they did announce that new ride for. We've talked about it on here before that we wondered the state of this ride since COVID happened because this was announced at the 2019 D23, by the way, that there was going to be Avengers ride going through Wakanda to defeat Thanos. Well, they kept some of that for this ride. This is an Avengers ride that is going to face off against a Thanos and you team up with other heroes, but they added a multiverse theme to this ride story. So here is a picture of the villain that they came up for that is exclusive to Avengers Campus, which is King Thanos. This is a Thanos that has won in another universe, and I guess somehow gets the one that we are in for Avengers Campus. And if you can't watch the video, he's got like a gold crown on his helm, and he's got this white beard that almost looks like a trident. It's pretty cool. There's some concept art here of the heroes going up against Thanos, and this is when we're pointing these out here, we've got two Captain Americas. We got Sam and Steve, and then we got Captain Carter next to them. We've got like two Hulks. We got like Savage Hulk and Thor Ragnarok Hulk. It looks like actually. We've got a Black Panther. We got Mighty Thor, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Werewolf at Night, Werewolf by Night, right? We have Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Thor. We have the Spider-Man from freshman year. We have the Homecoming Spider-Man. We have Daredevil, Black Widow. Who's that? Shuri up there?
Yeah, it looks like Shuri.
Man-Thing. We got Man-Thing here. We got Moon Knight. And we got the Hydra Stomper from What If.
Yeah.
And they said this is just some of the characters that we will run into.
And we've got America Chavez as well. I'm not sure if you mentioned her, but she's up there as well.
Right by Sam?
Yeah. Yep.
Where all the Americas are. All the caps.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, but I'm intrigued on how they're going to do this because I'm thinking one way this could work is take kind of the technology from the Universal Spider-Man ride, right? Where you're like riding through and there's screens and you have all these characters fighting. That could work, but that's a little bit behind the times, I think, for this sort of stuff. So I wonder if it will be sort of like Star Tours is, where it's randomized which characters are fighting King Thanos, and then they all come together at the end for like some sort of thing.
That's kind of
think
my thought. But
yeah.
So the ride vehicle, people said that this is going to be trackless like Rise of the Resistance. I don't know how you, unless if the screens in Rise or something, but I'm like, you cannot have this many animatronics, right? So there would be I think they already said it's not going to be like Star Tours. So
okay,
I don't know. Like that was kind of my easy thought too. Like, okay, well this ride I got Spider-Man from the cartoon, and I got Spider-Man from the movies, and I also got America Chavez and Daredevil. Like that's my group of Avengers this time. I don't know. Like I thought it'd be something like that. But how happy are you that your boy Daredevil here? One, he's blind, right? So he's just going maybe foolishly right to attack Thanos.
Hey, he can hear his heartbeat.
Though.
He's smart. He's a smart guy. He's a lawyer, and also Doctor Strange. But I'm scared because there's no Ant-Man. Where is he? Where is Paul Rudd?
He might be too small to see here.
I hope so. Maybe he's doing that thing that the internet thought he was going to do all those years ago.
Yes,
to beat Thanos.
They referenced it in the Wish.
I saw that. Yes, that was needed. I needed closure on this. But that's my only question. Where is Ant-Man? We've got my favorite and my third favorite Marvel character there. And fourth and fifth. We've got 1, 3, 4, and 5, but not number 2, Ant-Man. So
Yeah,
we
I would
need
just
him.
act like he's there somewhere.
I hope so. And they said it's not all the characters, but even so,
Yeah,
like
because no
why would they?
Shang-Chi. I'm assuming we're gonna have Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
in this, right?
Shang-Chi should be on there, but like, I really if there's no Ant-Man, I don't know. That knocks this ride down a little bit. That's a little disappointing because he's already in the park. Like, what is he? Is he too busy making working in the Pym test kitchen? Is that it? That's it.
Busy cooking your sandwiches and enlarging them and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I did send you a video that I was able to find from TikTok. I sent it via TikTok of the EXO, the Project EXO prototypes from 2021. So they've been working on this for a solid year, and it looks like they were sort of teasing potential to use it for Thanos, maybe. Because there is a giant purple hand in one of these scenes.
Really?
So yeah, and it has Josh Tomorrow, or he's using.
Were you about to say our good friend?
Our good friend,
like, our good friend Josh DeArmo.
Yeah, because he's a big fan of this podcast. Yeah.
Let's put that. Yeah, let us put that word out there. But no, I from what I've heard from cast members, when he worked at Disney World, everybody loved him. At Disney World, Disneyland. So, and I felt like he knew what we wanted, like with some of these announcements that we'll get to. I think it's cool. It's a multiverse ride. I think that fits, though this will still probably release after the end of the multiverse saga with how quick. Yeah, saga's ending in 2025, like that.
Maybe
at that point they'll be like, actually, we're still like halfway done. We're gonna flip this to the next saga, whatever that is. We're gonna focus on that.
I mean that would fit well though, wouldn't it? Like maybe it releases.
Yeah, the multiverse one never goes out of style. Actually, I mean, it could just be any world collide.
Right. Like it's just always there because the multiverse is infinite. There we go.
If anybody wants to see Ant-Man kind of successfully do that maneuver that we've mentioned, if anybody's watched the TV show The Boys on Amazon Prime, there is something very similar to that, but the guy does it unintentionally.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh, that I did not like that part. I did not like that part of it.
Did you watch that?
I did because I haven't seen the show, but my dad was watching it. And I happened to walk out of my office and into the living room at the house and see that scene go down. That was my first exposure to it. That was it.
It's funny. That was actually my first exposure too. Is somebody tweeted on Twitter like, "What is this?" And I watched that whole scene and I had no idea what show it was. And then people were replying, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I then gave the show a shot, not because of that, but because everyone talked about it. It's a good show, but if a little gruesome at times. Okay, surprised your dad watches. I'd love to get his thoughts.
He loves it. He loved it.
Where are we at? We are with
one of the bigger announcements. Right? Yeah, one of the bigger announcements, perhaps.
I don't have a picture for this. Did they share a picture of this?
They might have. But what I'll describe it if while you look at it. It's Pacific Wharf in Disney's California Adventure is going to be getting a complete retheming to San Francisco from Big Hero 6, which is very cool, I think. I know that you might not be the biggest fan of this because I know you're not always the biggest fan of IPs coming in for everything in the Disney parks. But I think it's pretty exciting. I think, one of the things that Disney's California Adventure struggled with when it first opened was, it tried too hard to be, oh, look, you can visit all of California in one day, and then not really understanding people didn't quite want that. They wanted a Disney experience because that's why they're going to Disneyland, right? That's what it is right there, I believe. So you're going to get it's more of a subtle retheming, I think, than anything, but it's going to include a bunch of cool things like the bridge from the movie in there that looks very much like the Golden Gate Bridge. You're going to get some neon lighting around to kind of mimic that sort of futuristic style they have. I think it's going to look like really nice at night. I think it's going to be a really nice area at night. And also giving an area to meet Baymax, who, that he had a Disney Plus show recently, a bit of a popularity boost, and Baymax is a fun character. So I think that is a very interesting concept. Probably no new rides coming along with it, but I think that area could have used maybe a little bit of retheming. So I'm excited to see what it looks like at the end.
Yeah, I'm actually fine with this one compared to the other one we'll get to.
I think that's the next one.
Yeah, but the reason why, right, is this is going to sound terrible, by the way.
Mhm.
As somebody that's been to Disneyland just two times here, I could not for the life of me remember the Pacific Wharf like at all. Okay, that was not something that I was able to remember. I had to look it up. So for me, no big loss, right? So this is what it looks like if you're watching the video. This is what it looks like now, right?
Yeah.
And then this is what it's going to look like there. So I kind of got the same angle almost, so that way we
Yeah.
can figure it out. So yeah, maybe a little more subtle retheming, but I'm hoping. I was kind of hoping they would do something more at this net repair area because that doesn't really look to fit San Francisco, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest part that Pacific Wharf really had in terms of attractions was they had Ghirardelli chocolate factory, like ice cream shop type thing. They have those all over. And you had a few little like restaurants. They had a place that had amazing pork pot stickers, by the way. Amazing. So I hope that stays around. And
well, that can fit the theme, right?
Yeah,
So.
and they had a Boudin Bread Factory tour, I believe, was over there as well. So Boudin Bread, very, very well-known bread place, bread company in San Francisco, make amazing sourdough bread. And so they had like a tour where you could go see them make bread and try samples, which I don't think is incompatible with the retheming. So we'll see what happens to that, but
At what point, Jack, do we rename the park? Because almost all parts of California have been stripped away at this point. So, right? I mean, except for the front, when they walk into Buena Vista Drive or whatever, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean,
all gone.
I think it can stay, and the reason why is I think it still gives the overall like vibe of California, and it still kind of works with that because you've got Buena Vista Street, you've also got that Hollywood Boulevard type thing. I'm not sure what the exact thing is called. Cars, I believe, like happens sort of around California, more in like the desert areas of the eastern part of the state. Pacific Wharf, San Francisco is still going to be representing that same sort of area, futuristic. Right. The pier still kind of represents, SoCal, SoCal beach piers. It's just themed to Pixar now. And Grizzly Peak is still like pretty obviously representing California nature. I think it can still keep the name California Adventure. And I think maybe the meaning of that has changed. It's not like here you can view all of California in a day. It's here you can
come to California and have an adventure.
More like maybe, but I'm also thinking here's like a Disney-fied version of California. Like these are areas of California that exist in the world of Disney, right? So you're looking at it in a different light. Maybe they'll retheme it, but I think it can still work. The theming can still work.
Yeah, Pacific Wharf is a very small area of the park when I'm just looking at a map here. Yeah. So, like you said, it's probably going to be very bare bones here. They announced like a meet and greet for Baymax and some food. So it's probably not going to have like a ride or anything. It's not going to be that in depth.
That's always what it's been, though. It's been an
Mhm.
area.
Just kind of walk through.
It's been an area to get food. Like they have
Yeah.
a nice place to sit down, and there's a bunch of different food stands you can go to, so you can go and get food, and then you can eat. That's always what this area of the park's kind of been for. It's been to eat food and relax. So I don't think that fundamentally changes. But adding a meet and greet and some cool theming, I think that can be good.
All right, Paradise Pier Hotel is renamed or rethemed, both, to Pixar Hotel. My biggest problem with this is just one. I don't think Paradise Pier should have been renamed Pixar Pier. See that this is what I would call like the Pacific War San Francisco thing. That's fine. Like if it's representing the same sort of area and it like fits, I feel like, right, with the theme, and they're gonna totally retheme it. Pixar Pier, like, what is a Pixar Pier, Jack? Like it's just a
It's
pier themed as Pixar. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like a place you can actually, I don't know, go to. And I really like Paradise Pier, and I like the original look of Paradise Pier. And I stayed at that hotel, so I'm very salty about this, even though I like Pixar. I don't know. For me, that is probably my like I figured this was happening because why would you then have a hotel themed as something that doesn't exist anymore? So, I'm not too shocked at this, but just sad, I think, overall.
Sorry, there was a fly in my room.
Did you get it?
Nope, it's still here. Okay. My opinion on this, because I've stayed at Paradise Pier a fair number of times too. Actually, the last time we went there, we stayed at Paradise Pier. And it's a nice hotel. It is, but I'm fine with the Pixar retheming. I think it works for synergy wise. And the other thing is, Paradise Pier has always kind of been the more like family oriented hotel, more themed toward like more geared towards kids. That's what it's kind of been intended to be. And I think the Pixar theming works well for that. But also I liked the retheming of Pixar Pier. It's actually what makes that area of the park my siblings' favorite part of the park. They in fact, we're going to Disneyland Resort for 3 days, right? We're going to Disneyland for only 1 day and California Adventure for 2 because they like that area so much. They rode the Incredicoaster, I think 7 times in a row.
Jeez.
I like the theming of Pixar Pier. I think it's charming. It's led to some good themed restaurants around there, good themed food stands, and I think like it adds more of that Disney feeling to it, and it still feels distinctly like California in that like it feels like a pier. You've got like the games by there. You've still got a giant roller coaster and stuff. You've still got rides that feel kind of more like carnival rides, I guess you could say. But it all feels distinctly Disney, and I like that a little bit more. I think that's kind of what was missing from California Adventure when it first opened. So I'm all for it. I'm all for the Disneyfication of the Pixarification, I guess, of Paradise Pier and
I guess my thought is that it's almost more like a half-ass retheme at that point of like, why not just like knock down the pier then and make a new themed land? Like, why do we have to try to be like, well, we're going to keep the bones of the thing and then just fit in the Disney or Pixar character? That's my biggest thing is like, okay, also when we talk about like how California didn't feel like Disney or whatever, right? It's like, well, did Disneyland feel like Disney at first either? I mean, in that sense of, Big Thunder is not a Disney property. Haunted Mansion was not a Disney property. Pirates wasn't a Disney property. Like that is stuff that now we quintessentially see as Disney, but like I feel like we don't give them enough time for that stuff anymore. I mean, Expedition Everest is completely probably the last ride that we have that is not 100% based off of some sort of already pre-existing thing. And I think that, I don't know, I feel like it could be fun, like, to have more things that like give Disney more room to say, okay, we're gonna create, like, if I'm in the blue sky Imagineering stuff, it's like, how can we create a good story based on new characters that maybe eventually can get their own movie, can get their own thing, the way Haunted Mansion's getting, the way that Pirates had got. Like, the fact that people probably go to the Pirates now and think, oh, this is based off the movie, is because it's just been so synonymous with Disney at this point. That's what I miss most about the old style Imagineering. Like, it's fun. When we talk about some of these blue sky concepts, some of this is going to be fun that I'm going to say, hey, I love these characters. This will be great. But also part of me is like, but why do we always have to, where are some of the brand new ideas, brand new stories that we're not leaning on characters that already exist? That is kind of where I'm thinking Imagineering is falling a little short. And you know what? It may not even be Imagineering. It might be a mandate from up above that I would think, right? Because they're like, well, we bought all this IP. Now you have to use it, right? Wait, you're going to create a ride called Sally Goes West? No, you're not. You're going to make this Little Bo Peep Goes West, or something like that is kind of what I get a vibe from.
I think part of it is capitalizing on the popularity, right? Because if you think about Disneyland Resort in general, before this, there's like nothing that represents Pixar related stuff, right? And Pixar is considered pretty synonymous with that. And this kind of started once Toy Story Midway Mania got added to this area, right? Which I think it was originally opened there, which is why it's like a Midway type attraction, right?
Yeah, it was. It was originally there. Yeah.
So I think like that was kind of the start, and it ended up being so popular. Like the lines, I remember going there in 2010. That was the first time that I went to California, or no. I went there when I was 3 technically, but I'm not going to lie. I don't remember a ton of stuff other than being scared of the whale on the storybook boat ride,
Yeah.
That's about all I remember. That's the extent of that. But like going there in 2010, that line was packed. There was, I think Disney saw a demand for Pixar stuff. And I also think they didn't want to knock it down as well. Like California Screamin' was pretty popular. Like it was a fun coaster, right? So they wanted to keep
I'm not
that sort
saying
of
knock
stuff,
down
right?
the whole thing. I guess I'm saying, like, I don't know. It seems like what they really did was like, okay, Incredicoaster, we're gonna slide in some Incredibles here, and then
I think the story is integrated pretty well to it. I think it is.
I haven't been able to ride it.
Okay, once you ride it, I think you might enjoy it a little bit more than you might think, because it works actually very well. And yeah, the ride audio works well. The effects that they have, the story makes more or less sense, But I also get what you mean about like this idea of having other things not necessarily related to Disney properties, but I think like people are starting to go there more and more now and think like just Disney, like I want Disney stuff, right? And I think that demand is kind of what's changing it. Maybe that like it might also be why we're getting more movies based off these attractions, so it connects people back to them in that sort of sense. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too far into it, but
this has been a complaint of mine from the all angles of the company at this point. Disney Plus, right? Like all of their movies and shows right now are based off of stuff they already own, or rebooting and stuff like that. It's like, let's just make a regular sitcom that maybe families would want to watch, right? Like you need more content for people that are not just like heavy Marvel, heavy Star Wars, heavy Pixar, right? You need content that like gets John Smith on the street to be like, oh, I heard really good things about this sitcom. I don't know, I'm gonna check it out, because some of the people I run into just have like no interest in some of this stuff, which is I guess amazing to me because I find all that stuff interesting. But we probably got to pick up the pace a little bit, so we're going to be here till 10 o'clock. But all right, so Paradise Pier, that's gone. Okay.
Yeah, these next two are pretty easy. Porto's, which is a Southern California Cuban cafe, is coming to downtown Disneyland. I think that's
this was a shrug for me.
Yeah, I mean, I like Cuban food. Went to Little Havana in Miami this summer. Amazing food. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be kind of interesting to go to. And then the Disney Marathon and Half Marathon, all those races, they're returning in 2024.
Yeah, they said the last one was 2017. What? There wasn't any before that? Before COVID shut it down?
No, I think it's been away for a while, or at least in Disneyland, maybe.
Okay, because I said
Yeah.
my parents have done them. I'm pretty sure before.
Yeah, I think it in Disneyland at least. So they're bringing them back there.
You think they would always have like one in? Yeah, you think they would always have one at one of these places?
I wonder if it's because of like construction for like Star Wars
maybe,
Land, right?
yeah.
Like
Launch Bay.
they just didn't have enough space, right,
not
to
Launch
do
Bay,
it. So I think it might have to do with construction, and then Avengers Campus, all of that. I think like it might have had to do with construction limiting the areas they could use. So
Disney races, yeah. Okay, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is going to be slightly different from Hollywood Studios. They didn't really go into much. It's going to fit in with the Toontown story, which I get it, I guess. Hollywood Studios, you're going to see a film, right? So I guess here maybe it still showed a theater outline, right?
Yeah,
like a theater outside. So
I think like one of the things that they showed as concept art was like it looked like a disco type thing,
that was kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. It looks it looks slightly different, which I think gives it a little bit more interest to some people, perhaps. So, I don't know. And then also like they're redoing. I'll say this along with this because it goes with Toontown. Donald's Boat is coming back to Toontown and completely redone. It looks like.
So was that gone? Because the way that they worded it was like you thought this was gonna get knocked down, but
I think
I was kind of confused.
I think where Runaway Railway is going was where Donald's Boat was.
Okay.
So I think that's where it was. I'm gonna be honest. I did not spend a lot of time in Toontown when I've gone there because
really,
well, you see, the last few times I've gone, 2018 and last summer, Toontown has been like dead for a while.
Really,
there has not been a lot happening there. When was the last time you went to Toontown in Disneyland?
2016. I mean, that's the last time I've been there. Yeah.
It was kind of abandoned. Like the trolley doesn't run. Like there's Mickey and Minnie's house, and then Roger Rabbit had like a 5-minute wait at maximum most of the time.
I like the ride though.
It's a great ride, yeah, but it needed a refresh. So I'm excited to see like them adding in, Donald's Boat and this thing like Goofy's Yard, I think they said it was, right? And that will be opening with Toontown in 2023. So adding more areas for like kids to play in, which is kind of cool, like making it more of an area for, kids to just burn out some extra energy that they might have. I'm sure parents all over are going to be happy that exists.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess we'll see what, I'll watch some ride through opens if we don't get any information before that. Okay. Donald's Boat's going to be redone. Goofy's Yard. Okay. Tiana's Bayou Adventure will open in late 2024. I don't know if that's at both places or at Disneyland first, but they have opening late 2024 for both on the concept art, so I'm not really sure. But picks up after the movie with Tiana's Palace opening and becoming a community leader. To celebrate a carnival, she's opening a community celebration, but needs a special element. Tiana and Louis head out into the bayou with guests to find something special. meeting a bunch of new characters along the way,
Which
including
includes the
an
otter playing a violin, which looks fantastic. I liked it a lot.
using lighting effects to make it look gorgeous at night. The film cast are reprising their roles for ride audio. They got a huge standing ovation, or not standing, applause. And I was kind of like, didn't we all think that was probably going to happen? But
Well, it's good to get it at least
I
confirmed.
guess.
It's because I feel like there's a few attractions that don't have the characters reprising their voices.
I feel like
entirely.
now they're better at that. Like, I feel like now they probably have it in contracts of like, you are going to voice this character until the end of time.
Possibly, yeah.
We got you. Like with Frozen having all those big names, like I didn't think the cast of Princess and the Frog was going to be an issue. And music is going to be a huge part of the attraction to try to get the feel and music of New Orleans.
I think it sounds pretty good. I like that they're continuing the story from the movie, right? And I'm excited to see kind of the route they take and what the utility of the drop is going to be too, right? Like, because concept art shows that drop still existing.
Yeah.
In Splash Mountain, it's like, I mean, thinking about it, it's like pretty dark. They're literally trying to kill Brer Rabbit by throwing him into down a mountain into
a briar patch.
Yeah, like that's. I haven't actually. I don't think I've fully processed how dark that is until just now. But
he's pleading for his life as you ride up the hill. It's pretty dark.
I usually just brace myself because I don't like to get wet on rides.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually just brace myself for that. But yeah, I'm interested to see what that's going to do because they didn't. I mean, it can't be something Dr. Facilier is doing because he's like trapped in the shadow dimension or something. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember that.
Somehow,
yeah. So that I think it's going to be good. I think this turns some skeptics around. Maybe we'll see.
I don't know. I mean, look, it'll be fun. I'll get used to it, but it's I really like Splash, so I'm gonna have a really tough time, especially if it's like, all right, if the story's not great, all right, and I have faith that it'll be good, but if it's not, I wonder, are they going to use the America Sings, because if they have like an otter playing out violin, I'm like, are they gonna just throw the same animatronics in there again, like? Because that's the whole reason that ride exists. They're like, what do we do with these guys? They're like, what if we made a ride where these guys are still all right and they're still in this thing? So that'll be interesting. I really wonder how different it'll be at each place because the tracks are a little different. I'm pretty sure the tracks are a little different. I like Disney World Splash better than Disneyland.
Yeah, no, the tracks
so,
between the two attractions, yes, definitely different.
And the animatronics were a little different. Like I think the Brer's Brer Rabbit looked a little silly a few times in Disneyland compared to like Disney World. So that stuff will change. I'm assuming there will be to these characters in the ride, like Mr. Toad being in the Winnie the Pooh thing in Disney World. Like, I'm assuming there'll be some sort of homage to them. Yeah.
I'm excited to see how they transform that final scene with like the giant boat and them singing Zippity Doo Dah.
It'll probably be something similar with if she's getting a celebration. You got the ingredient, right? Maybe that's what it is. The ingredient's at the top of the hill. You're going to get it. Oh, we fall, and then boom, we're celebrating.
Or like we have to get back quick, right? Or something like that. Yeah, like I'm excited to see what they add into that. Like if they make like an actual representation of Tiana's palace, right? That could be so cool. There's a lot of potential there, I think.
Mm-hmm. Different. See how it goes. Magic Happens Parade is returning to Disneyland. I don't really know what this parade is, so
yeah, I don't either.
2023 spring. And Disneyland is having 2 nighttime shows in 2023. World of Color is returning. And Wondrous Journeys is coming to Disneyland, and it's about all 60 animated films.
I think, kind of cool. World of Color is a cool concept, so yeah.
I like World of Color, yeah. So yeah, bring it back.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't usually stay that often to actually watch the nighttime stuff because my family usually makes reservations at like 8:50 p.m. to.
I can't eat dinner that late. I can't eat dinner that late. No, I guess I did Friday a bit. I don't know. Friday we it was probably like 8:00 dinner, but okay, let's get to Disney World. Moana Journey of Water is opening in late 2023, along with the whole center of Epcot.
Yeah, like World Celebration. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the concept art looks fantastic, and from the construction photos I've seen, it looks fun. Like, I mean, it looks like it will be something really fun to do and explore, and like, maybe while you're waiting for your next lightning lane to go through, right? Just to go through that and see all of these.
Well, not me. I'm never having a lightning lane, so.
Oh, okay. Well, or your virtual queue for Guardians. There you go. There you go.
I don't know. I might have to. I'm supposed to go down in early March for Matt's wedding, and I'm assuming I'm going to try to get Epcot a few days. So I'm going to try to get on Guardians, and if I have to spend the 16, I'll do it for like. I don't want to wait forever, but like the next time I go down, I'm not going to spend that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to do it the one time to make sure I ride it, and then I won't do that. But yeah, it looks cool. I kind of like the idea of having all these trees up, if that's what it's going to be like, because I think that's pretty different when we're talking about. It kind of looks like Animal Kingdom a bit, and kind of having like a buffer that's not just concrete walls and stuff like that. So
add some greenery to the park.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that looks good.
And then Figment. They announced Figment. They announced it. Everyone was excited.
Here he is again, right? This is another Disney Parks creation, by the way, that is not in any films or anything. But yes, the Figment meet and greet is coming back. I remember meeting him as a kid. He's one of my favorite characters. And I really think that, look, if I was in charge of all this stuff, he would have I think everybody got really excited because they thought an announcement of a ride overall was coming. But it was just a meet and greet. But I would make a movie based on Figment. You know what I'm saying? Like,
or Disney Plus series.
The Disney Plus series, a movie.
They'd make bank off that.
Here's the thing: all of their popular properties from the parks are all original IP, which is just Figment buckets, popcorn buckets were like selling like hotcakes left and right, just so people are like, I love Figment. Like that's where people are on Figment right now.
This is like the only thing I was slightly disappointed with the presentation, because having ridden Journey into Your Imagination like a month ago, or less than a month ago, like 3 weeks ago, oh my god, it needs help. It needs new life. It really does. Like I feel like it's rare for any attraction really at Disney where you legitimately walk straight up and you just get into a car that is legitimately already waiting. It was waiting there. Like they didn't have to move another one with people in it before. We got on, and with like 2 other people besides my family. That was it. That was the entire group going through it. It needs a new imagination to it, more imagination.
It's a rough ride right now.
Yeah. It and the animatronics, they are rough. They are very rough. Like the scene where Figment's like on the telephone, he answers the telephone. I feel like I could hear the gears working. I could hear it as he raised the phone to his ear. Like,
yeah,
that ride needs some love. It needs some. So I get. Yes, I got the fly. I get where people are a little disappointed with that, because I feel like Epcot in general has a lot of rides that need help. The Nemo ride as well. I think I told you about that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that needs help.
Well, so here's my thought on this, right? Is this is how I felt it happen, right? Josh D'Armo was like, all right, guys, we got a guy that likes and deals with imagination. Everybody's like, yes!
He's purple.
Yes! And then it was like, so a meet and greet is coming, and that's all we have to say. And then it felt like a collective like, ugh, that's it.
Yeah.
That, and now, of course, it didn't happen that way, but that's what I felt. The energy in the room, just like, ooh, we all thought you were about to say something really cool about a ride,
Yeah.
but I guess we'll take the meet and greet.
Yeah. I hope maybe this is like them like maybe they're teasing it, and then once the meet and greet comes by, they're like, hey, by the way, surprise, we're closing down that to refurbish it. Maybe it's here's a conspiracy, not a conspiracy theory, a theory. Maybe they're opening the meet and greet like in the queue line to start the ride, and so they can change up the inside of the ride, so they still have something for people to do. So they're not, because a lot of Epcot's already under construction, right?
I think they would have announced it though, because if they were gonna take 30 minutes talking about blue sky stuff, I think they would have been like, oh, by the way, we're remaking this ride. Like,
look, I want to hope here. I want to have some. I want to have some hope, and this is what I'm.
It's
the
sad,
fly. I did not get the fly. It's back.
You know what else is back? The Hatbox Ghost is coming to Haunted Mansion in Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
This I'm happy for, because I don't want to have to trek out to California every time just to see one additional ghost.
And it's an iconic part of Haunted Mansion's history. Like, they wanted to add it in when it first opened, but they couldn't get the effect to look right because of the lighting. So having it finally coming back to Disney World, because apparently they tried it for like cast member previews when it first opened. Like they tried to make it work, but it just wasn't. So they removed it sometime in between there. So it's finally returning after 50 years being gone. I think that's cool. I think that's cool, and I'm very excited for it because of just the history of that particular animatronic and the effects used for it.
Okay, and Tron Light Cycle is opening spring 2023.
Finally giving an opening date frame for it. Finally.
Been under construction for a long time. This was another thing announced. Oh, not 2019. I think this was announced like 2017.
2017 or 18, yeah. 17, because
17. Yeah, I just started doing this podcast.
Yeah, I remember in 2018. That was the last time I went there before this. These more recent times this year that I had gone to Disney World, and I remember the railroad was closed because Tron was just starting construction. So hopefully that also means the railroad is going to be back in spring 2023, which I hope so, because it's so convenient to have.
I don't use it that much, actually.
I do use it, especially if I'm in like Frontierland and just want to get over to Tomorrowland, because New Fantasyland can get crowded sometimes with the walkways. So
I'm a very fast walker. Like my wife has to tell me to slow down because I constantly leaving her 10 feet behind. So I'm a very quick, and I love dodging and weaving. So for me, getting to Tomorrowland is no problem. But this would be helpful for everybody that, well, one, just even wants a nice little ride around the park. It's fun.
It's a nice relaxing thing instead of walking all the time, because you know, walking 10 hours a day. Walking 10 hours a day can be rough.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to Disney Cruise Line. We got a 6th ship that is coming. It's called Adventure. No, not Adventure. It's themed around Adventure. Adventure might actually work as a better name. But Treasure, the
Disney Treasure.
Oh,
it looks beautiful. It
looks like every other one. But yes, it has treasure on the side.
Yeah, they all look, but I don't know. There's just something about the Disney Cruise Line ships that just looks so nice. I love it.
It's like a modern Titanic. But
don't say that. That's not. We don't want that. We don't want that.
Titanic was beautiful, though. It was. All right.
Yes, but there's some other features of the Titanic we don't want on a Disney Cruise Line ship. So
it's influences from Asia and Africa. The main statue is going to have Aladdin, Jasmine, and Magic Carpet. The lobby looks very like Aladdin inspired.
It looks beautiful. I showed it to my sister, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not sure if I like that." I'm a huge fan of it. I think it looks good.
It looks great.
It looks different than the other Disney Cruise Line ships, yes, but I don't know exactly what it is.
I don't want to get on like the Wonder and be like, is this the Wish? I want them to look different.
Distinct. The distinct design features between them is what makes it interesting. So yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
And the Wonder is repositioning to Australia and New Zealand. And they're going to have a voyage that'll visit Fiji and Samoa while they're repositioning it. And they're making a new private island. We talked about this. I think this was announced in 2019, I think, but it's called Lighthouse Point. And 90% of the power is going to come from solar energy there.
Very cool. And it looks pretty nice. I think it looks kind of like a Castaway Keys story is like, it's castaways that set up this shop, right? Of places, right? That's the story behind it. This one looks kind of like an actual like village got set up as a result of that sort of stuff. And I really like that. But I will say, if it does not have a giant lighthouse on it, I question the name.
Isn't it supposed to? I thought the concept art showed a lighthouse.
I hope so. If it doesn't, if that gets scrapped, then
I wouldn't put it past Chapek where he's like, we're gonna scrap the lighthouse. It's like, well, then the name won't make any sense.
Yeah. If that gets scrapped, it's not a lighthouse. It's not. If there's no lighthouse on Lighthouse Point,
then it's just Point.
Yeah, then it's just Point.
Disney Point.
Wow, Disney Point. Hey, where are you going on your Disney cruise? Oh yeah, I'm going to Nassau, Bahamas. I'm going to Jamaica and Disney Point.
Where is this supposed to be, by the way? Do we know where it's going?
I am not gonna lie. I am not quite sure. Ooh. Oh, it looks like maybe off. No, what? Where? I have no clue. I'm looking at it right now. Where is Lighthouse Point?
It's in the Bahamas.
There. Yep, it's in the Bahamas, but where in the Bahamas is the question.
This concept art doesn't really show a lighthouse.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little concerned that there's no lighthouse there.
It's like a lot of little, I don't know. I was gonna say huts, but I don't know what to really call them. They're like little. I guess that's where you would stay. I don't know.
Yeah,
but they don't stay on there, so I guess it's like little private areas. I don't know.
Cabanas, maybe.
Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. It's going to complement Castaway Key.
I have no clue where this is. I'm trying to figure it out. I mean, maybe that's the point of it, isn't it? That's kind of their point, maybe, so no one tries to find it beforehand.
Yeah, can they legally not put a lighthouse here? Is that because then I don't know. I feel like ships should. I feel like even these little islands should have lighthouses. I don't know.
Yeah, like make a fake lighthouse. I don't know. Like you can do that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see when it's complete.
Yeah.
All right. So Shanghai Disney now. Zootopia Land will be added. This was announced actually back in 2019 as well, but they showed some more concept art of what it looks like.
It looks faithful to the movie.
Yep.
And
so we'll see. I think into that one they have. So here's the thing. When we talk about this blue sky stuff later with Zootopia, apparently Shanghai has some sort of exclusivity clause for some of their attractions. So I'm not sure how this will work if they have exclusive rights to some of this stuff. I guess they'd make it look a little different or a different ride. I don't know than what Shanghai's getting. But they also showed the animatronic of what's his name, Clawhauser, right?
Yep, Clawhauser, and it looks impressive. It's very impressive.
I just pulled that out of my noggin from 2016. Oh, you also have it written down. Okay, good.
Yes.
I just wasn't even looking at that. Okay. Duffy is getting a new friend named Lena Bell, and a Duffy Disney Plus show is going to be later this year. So here's Lena Bell in the middle. She's a fox. I don't mean that in like that way. Sorry. I mean, she's a literal fox.
Literal fox.
A literal fox.
Yes, the fly's dead. I
heard
have
you say that the last time, but
no. I have a confirmed.
confirmed kill.
Yes, confirmed kill of the fly.
I didn't even know if they had all these. I know they had Duffy
Yeah.
and whatever female Duffy is, and the turtle. I didn't know
Yeah,
they had the chef dog, the artist fox, and this rabbit. I didn't know they had all these.
a dancer rabbit. I don't know.
Yeah, ballerina. Yeah, ballerina.
Yeah.
Rabbit.
But yeah, I knew about Duffy and I almost said Duffette, but I'm almost certain that's not it.
It's on her hat there. I can't read it though.
Yeah, I can't read it. But yeah, I guess this has been expanding for some
Sally
time.
Mae,
then.
right? Sally Mae.
Yes, no, that's correct. The student loan company. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Hey, how do you think her funds? All right.
Yeah, but that's I think it's I wish they still had like a Duffy meet and greet at Disney World, because I remember it was like at the front of World Showcase, and that fit perfectly with the theming, right? Like it fit perfectly. But you know, he's an explorer. He goes around the world. Cool, fits with World Showcase.
He's a toy.
Yeah. Well,
he
you know
can
what?
be added.
Don't be so
Can they add
reductive
him?
to him.
Can they add him to Toy Story Land now? You know, out of all these, look, we only really got Duffy in our version, right? Maybe Sally Mae?
Yeah.
When I was meeting Duffy a lot, it was just Duffy. I really want Chef Dog. I don't know who this is, but like that's a pretty
Cookie
cool
Ann.
like,
Cookie Ann. That's
Cookie
the name.
Ann?
Yes.
All right. What is that a play on?
I don't know.
I don't think a play on here. Okay.
Okay. I found all of the names actually of them. So
okay, let's name them all. All right.
So we've got so artist what
fox.
animal
It looks like a fox.
Yeah, it doesn't say the animal, but oh no, it's a cat. It has whiskers
it's a cat,
on this. And the name is Gelatoni.
Gelatoni, okay.
And then the
G
dancer
or
rabbit.
J?
G.
Okay.
A G. And then the dancer rabbit is Stella Lou.
All right.
And then we've got the turtle is Olumel.
Yes, he's from Alani, I think.
Alani, yes. So yeah, that's what we've got here. That's it's not Sally Mae, it's Shelly Mae.
All right, there you go. And
there we go.
And the dog was Cookie Ann.
Cookie Ann, yes.
All
like
right, what's the female
all is
fox
one
name
word.
that we
All
just
is
got
one
here?
word. The fox is Linabelle.
Lena Bell. Yes.
Yeah.
They had her meet people at D23, so that was cool.
She came on stage with a magnifying glass. Cool time.
So does that mean the Disney Plus show we get all these characters?
I believe so.
I guess that's the only way I'll ever know who these people are. Now Duffy is he's very popular in Asia. He's got like a huge following in Tokyo, I believe, and I guess Shanghai now.
I mean, I'm glad they like him over there. Cool.
Hong Kong Disneyland, they're having a new statue of Walt and Mickey known as the merry-go-round moment.
Yes.
Right? Merry-go-round moment, where Walt was sitting on the bench watching his daughters on the merry-go-round and says, you know what, we need a place for everyone. And it has Walt talking to Mickey on the bench. So it's a cool statue. I
just noticed I spelled that wrong. I forgot the O in merry-go-round.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, merry-ground. Yeah.
Whoops.
Oh, well. We also got World of Frozen in Hong Kong, where we're having an Oaken ride. I like that.
Yeah. It looks kind of like Seven Dwarves Mine Train. Kind of similar.
Yeah, I guess it could be. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, it's not going to have the mine cars, but...
Yeah. It'll be sleighs. It'll be sleighs.
Yeah.
But wow, that looks impressive.
Yeah.
I wonder if you'll be able to like go up the mountain to Elsa's castle or not.
No, what I'm assuming here is that it's like Belle's castle.
Yeah,
Disney World. That's what
maybe you can like enter it in like the base of the mountain, and it will be like,
you can have dinner.
Yeah, let it go. Let it go. The restaurant.
Let it go. Restaurant. That's where you have to unbuckle your belt and just let it go.
Yeah,
Eat as much as
it's
you
a
can.
giant
It's a
buffet where you have to
it's a
eat a
buffet.
specific amount. Yep.
Tons of marshmallows too.
Yep.
Okay. See, we should be Imagineers.
Yeah. There we
So
go.
that's Hong Kong. That opens in the second half of 2023. Disneyland Paris has a new promenade, which is connecting Frozen Land to the rest of the park.
And
yep.
that
Go ahead.
promenade is going to have a Tangled attraction on it as well. So
Yes.
that's what they've added in there. So it's not just a strip of land to connect everything.
What type of ride do we see here? Does it have a picture? I didn't think there was a picture.
I think they had like something like very small. It didn't have like any details. Disneyland Paris Tangled ride. Because they shared like a very small piece of oh, there we go. Inside the Magic. Fans are disappointed with it already. I didn't think there was enough to be disappointed with.
Oh, okay. It's the boat ride from the lanterns is what it looks like.
Oh.
That's probably why they're disappointed. I think it's just going to be a little a little boat ride. It's probably not going to be much. So whatever.
Yeah.
That'll be
Oh,
nice.
yeah. Okay, I see it. It's like rotating boats. So like it's a water merry-go-round?
Huh.
Maybe.
So my wife is
I'm
a
not
big Tangled fan.
Mhm.
So this will be a pretty big hit with her. I think so. They say it's a attraction is a spinner like Mad Tea Party, but with wooden boats spinning around the lanterns. I'm assuming
Interesting.
not. I'm assuming it can't be that fast, right? Like that takes all the romance out of that moment. You have like Flynn and Rapunzel like whipping around like Mad Hatter. It's like, and at last I see, you know, like that's not good. So I'm assuming it'll be a slow rotation.
Yeah, I think that, man, Inside the Magic sometimes is really good at picking like one negative comment and making an entire story about it being widespread disappointment.
Well, they're awful as a whole, but
yeah, but man, they took quotes from two people saying this looks more and more like the teacups, and why would they even want another cup and saucer attraction? That's it. That's what they've used to say. Fans are super disappointed with it. Okay, but regardless,
so
that's
when
another
people say
tangent
it
we could go
looks
on.
like that, where do they see that? Like I don't see enough of a picture to see that.
Okay, so what I'm seeing here is there were some details here that someone. Okay.
Let me pull up a picture of what I found. What's it called? Gardens. Okay. This is for all the people watching, this is the picture I found. So, of course, the boat's up here, right side, right? I don't see like multiple of these that are like spinning around. Unless if this is, okay, maybe this is a little fixture and then the ride is behind it. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to be looking at.
I'm going to send you a few tweets that you can look at. That this account, by the way, is Disneyland Paris Works at Disneyland Works. They posted some pictures of some of what they think is going to happen with this Tangled ride. The first one is originally what they saw, and then there's a thread from 3 days ago, so the 14th, of some of the attractions. So looks like I can kind of see the spinning part there.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it'll be. It's just to give that space more meaning than to just be a walking space.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what it is.
Look, I'll tell you, Disneyland Paris needs all the rides it can get. So
you've been there, so
I've been there twice. Yes, they definitely need some more. Okay, so yeah, I mean, yeah. So it looks like this is going to be a teacup type thing inside the building that is behind the picture I'm sharing here. So if you're looking at where the RC racer thing is, that RC thing is, to the left of that, you will see the building that looks a lot like the picture in this tweet here. And then you would see this boat with Flynn and Rapunzel is probably a permanent fixture that is in the water as that attraction.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks pretty good, because Flynn and Rapunzel are in Frozen, so makes sense.
Yes, briefly. Yep.
Yeah, so there you go. It makes sense.
Yeah, otherwise, yeah, that's true. I was like, yeah, I wonder why they picked that. But yeah, I guess it's part of it. Honestly, they're probably like, let's just fit something here. But you can always make it work after the fact. Okay, we have Disneyland Paris. Yep. Okay, a Disneyland Hotel will be rethemed to Disney Classics. That's fine. The hotel I stayed at is now rethemed to Marvel. I was at the New York one. There. Tokyo Disney Frozen Land is making good progress and showcased an impressive Elsa audio animatronic. So is this new? It's kind of look like the one that we already have, this animatronic.
Yeah, I think it looked maybe a little bit better because the movement synced it up a bit more, it looked like, but I don't know. It looked pretty good.
And a Space Mountain retheme coming to Tokyo.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they have the normal Space Mountain right now. Paris doesn't. So, all right. Big things in the Blue Sky phase. So Josh DeArmo was like, "Hey, I want to share some stuff with you that may or may not happen." And then, of course, this led to every single Disney fan page tweeting out confirmed for Disney World, confirmed for Animal Kingdom. And I was like, did you hear how many times Josh said could, would, may? I mean, he doesn't know. And this is where I want to stress before we talk about it, if you haven't heard this stuff, this may not happen. And I'm actually leaning towards this stuff will not happen. And the only reason I lean that way is because we got a Mary Poppins ride announcement in 2019 that got cut as soon as the pandemic happened. We got the Avengers ride that was cut originally, and then they, started making another ride, so that kind of got salvaged a bit. Rumors stated we were supposed to have a pavilion announcement in 2019, and then it got cut. And there's just been a history of stuff that's been announced that gets the axe. People have been saying Star Cruiser pretty much has a lot of the stuff that was supposed to be in Galaxy's Edge that ended up getting budget cuts. So I do want to stress that because I don't want to be one of those people that say confirmed this is happening. I really want to stress that because this stuff hasn't been officially announced. They really stress that it may never be announced. Yep. But that is just stuff that they're maybe working on. That they're drawing up and saying, hey. Now, part of me also leans that this stuff will happen because why would they confidently say this stuff if they're not planning it? But, you know what else got canceled that was announced? That Main Street Theater that was supposed to happen as well. There was also supposed to be a show in it, like at the Adventure Land or whatever, but they cut all that stuff, and that stuff I think was announced in 2017 D23. So yeah, there's some stuff that just hasn't come to fruition that I'm hesitant to say. Now they do have some concept art. This concept art is going to look very similar to the Galaxy's Edge 2015 concept art, which means not very detailed, just kind of hints of some stuff. If you're watching the video, you'll see this stuff. If you're listening, we're going to describe it as best as we can. And we'll give our thoughts and kind of end the episode on this segment. Okay, so let's talk, I guess, let's go with Animal Kingdom, my beloved Dino Land.
I know you really
want solidarity
Dino Land
here.
I know you really want it to be replaced. I know you have no connection whatsoever.
Lining up for it. No. And you know what? I've seen a lot of my coworkers, or cousins, as we call ourselves with Dino Land, as very disappointed in this stuff. look, I understand it needs a refresh, right? It lost a whole ride that just sits like a blank, and it looks terrible without the ride there now. I'd rather working him still be up because it looks very weird, just like bulldoze. But I worry for Dinosaur because I do like Dinosaur, and I'd rather them invest some money in that. Even if they re-skinned it from Dinosaur, I think the ride track is just a really good ride. I think that whole system is very
it's
good.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it's great.
It's Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Apparently, some rumors before were Conda was originally going to replace at some point. I didn't think that fit Animal Kingdom at all. And okay, Moana and Zootopia. So the way that they phrased this originally was just Zootopia, and then when they showed the Moana art, you can see Zootopia behind it.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they would try to fit both of these in the plot of just Dinoland. It seems kind of tough.
I can see where it happens.
Okay, yeah. So
yep.
So all right, let's. So it looks like Zootopia would be where Dinosaur the ride is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This Kokomora ride is very similar to Triceratops Spin. So imagine this being Triceratops Spin. If you're imagining Kokomora on the left, it having this like flume ride, which I assume might be kind of stretching where the current games are, but also stretching to the
Finding Nemo Theater. Yeah.
The Nemo Theater. Yeah, so you have that. Some people have been able to say that this building on the right-hand side kind of matches Chester and Hester or Restaurantosaurus.
Yep, yeah.
So that would make sense.
Yeah, so that's kind of the orientation that we have.
Swear to God, Jack, if they get rid of my chicken nuggets, I am going to lose. I just thought of that. Going to lose it. It's the only place.
They don't have any other place with chicken nuggets.
Not in Animal Kingdom.
You've got to expand your variety, my friend.
I'm 31 years old. My taste palette, my palate's not changing. Okay.
They change every 10 years. Taste buds. I'm just saying.
Do they?
Yes. Yeah. They regenerate because cell division and that.
Well, I like the idea of the Kokomora thing. That's fine.
It looks fantastic.
Here's my issue. Here's my issue with Moana fitting in here. I don't think it fits Animal Kingdom. And I don't think if it's Animal Kingdom, it's probably cool that probably has Tomotoa, in the water ride. He's really the only animal that we ever come across, really. But we just had the Moana River Journey of Water thing in Epcot. We're gonna have a whole land dedicated to her. Yeah, I feel like there could be other things that can fit this. I do think there could be other stuff that fits Animal Kingdom that isn't another Moana expansion. Maybe, I think she fits more with, okay, if we're going to branch out what Animal Kingdom stands for, maybe, right? If we're talking about just nature as a whole, it has a very good nature theme with, Te Fiti and all that kind of stuff. But I think if we're looking at just the message of Animal Kingdom with animals and, Pandora was a stretch to begin with. They kind of made that work with the conservation thing. I don't know. A little worried about the theme of the park here. And I'm more so worried about Zootopia because Zootopia really is just anthropomorphic, right? Animals who have jobs and, don't really have too much to do with the environment or their even habitats that they have. They all move to a big city. Right. I mean, that's kind of where I have a little bit more problem with these themes. I think you can find something that fits the Animal Kingdom theme more than these two parts. But I think what it is that they're building Zootopia over in Shanghai. And they're like, dang, this looks pretty good. How can we fit this in Disney World? And I think that's how they're almost working backwards at that point.
Maybe. I know you're not going to like this, but I think that Dinoland, I think its time might be past. I think it might be. I'm sorry, but
the time has never passed for Dinosaur.
Maybe they can keep the dinosaur ride, but I feel like Chester and Hester's Dinorama, I'm not sure how well it fits Animal Kingdom already, just
Hey,
because
they were my bosses.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
They're
to
my
disrespect-
bosses. I can't. No, it fit. Look, they have a whole. Now it's not spoken about really. I mean, I had to take a whole history of learning Dinoland and my first few days, and they walk you around to all the little billboards, and you get to learn the whole story. And I really like that whole part of it. I understand that there's some stuff that needs to be overhauled with it, but look, we already lost a Mythical Kingdom thing from the sign. Right? And I think, okay, if you're gonna get rid of Dino Land, all right, do Mythical Kingdom, like do the
Beastly Kingdom,
Kingdom
yeah.
part, like make some new characters based on that stuff, or I don't know. I think you could do some fun stuff with something that isn't just like, all right, how do we fit Zootopia in here?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I'm not as huge of a fan of a Zootopia land being added. I'll say that much. I do, however, think Dino Land. It's not my favorite part of Animal Kingdom. I feel like it really could use something new there. I think it could. But we'll see. We'll see if this actually happens, because all I know is that something has to be done there, because without Primeval World there, that area of the park is just dinosaur. Because honestly, Triceratops Spin, most of the people that are going there because they have small kids, right?
Yeah.
So
and they don't want to play the games, because the games when I worked there cost $4 a game. I don't know how much.
I'm sure they cost like $7 or something now.
Probably,
Who knows?
probably
like maybe $8. I don't know, but it's like
they have much better prizes now, though. They've actually branded Dinorama prizes with Mickey and the dinosaurs. Before, it was like very cheap. When I worked there, it was very cheap carnival prizes.
Yep. So I think I know you probably don't want to hear it, and you probably don't want to admit it, but I think Disney has been thinking about changing over Dino Land for some time now.
And, and the only thing that saved it is COVID.
Yeah, like honestly, that is the only thing. That's the reason why it's still standing. But I think it's only a matter of time before it gets changed over to something new. I think it's probably next 5 to 10 years. Dino Land will not be there.
Look, I hope it lasts long enough for me to have kids and be able to show them this is where Daddy worked. Like, it's really the main thing that I'm worried about, is like I want my kids to be able to experience Dino Land and where I worked and stuff, and not be like, I used to work here, but it was all about dinosaurs. And they're like, shut up, Dad, it's Moana now. Like, this is what I'm riding.
This is the future, old man.
Old man yells at Cloud, right? Very, yeah. Literally clouds, because they're blue sky concepts. Yeah, but I think there's other things they can do here that fits Animal Kingdom more. Like when I heard Wakanda rumors, I didn't like that. When I heard these rumors, I didn't like that. I even heard Indiana Jones rumors. I didn't like that.
Yeah,
right? I think he fits in Hollywood or somewhere else. Like, I think it's a very, they like I said, I was very skeptical with Pandora. They made it work, I think, in my eyes. But I don't know how much you can. I don't know how much you can make this work if you're just going to have, especially, we're going to go from Moana walking into Zootopia. I don't know. It's like, and what are we going to call those lands? Because they're all usually countries until you get to Dino Land USA. But it's like, okay, is it just going to be broken up as, what is the Moana island? Do we know the island name?
No, I know it's in Polynesia.
I
know it's in the Polynesian Islands.
Motunui, yeah. So it could be called Motunui, and then what? Zootopia? I don't know. That's weird.
I mean, that is the name of the city. That's the name of the city in it. So.
Yeah, I know. But so yeah, Zootopia. That was also rumored to replace Rafiki's Planet Watch at some point. So. Maybe it stretches. Now, Rafiki's on the whole other side. I'm trying to figure out how we fit both of these in this area.
It would make a lot of sense if it replaced Rafiki's Planet Watch, to be fair, because like the train coming into Zootopia, that would make sense. But I'm just trying
to figure out how we fit both of these. I thought they were saying like we have an idea for this and we have an idea for this, but they actually meant like we have an idea.
Yeah, like See, here's the thing. I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan, right? It's my favorite trilogy of movies of all time. It would not fit in Animal Kingdom, even though the ride track's already there with Dinosaur. I want them to add more stuff to Hollywood Studios because Indiana Jones is amazing. It is the best movie series of all time. I stand by that. I don't care how bad you thought Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was, potential audience.
I actually I was gonna say I like
yeah.
Kingdom of Crystal Skull.
It,
So
it's still it is still fantastic. But Wakanda, it would fit if it was like in the Africa area of that, maybe. Like if you added in some stuff to that, could work. But it's not, it doesn't work as its own land because then you're like, because it almost follows like an actual map, right? Because you have Africa over here and then Asia on the other side. I know that's mirrored for you, that you just saw there, but for me it was the right way around. So it wouldn't make sense for that, at least. I think something will change there, but yeah, I agree with you that Moana and Zootopia, like right next to each other like that, too abrupt of a transition. It wouldn't really work that well. Like, I already think the transition from the Africa Pavilion to Pandora is a pretty rough transition because you just have a walking trail through it. And sure, it kind of works because you don't see both of them at the same time, but it still like doesn't feel like a very cohesive transition. Like the one I'm thinking Disneyland type, right? Frontierland to Batu. Fantastic transition. Fantastic.
I haven't been there since they finished it.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So yeah,
with how high Zootopia buildings are going to be, I wonder.
Yeah.
Okay,
no, that
if
would
we're
be
walking
a rough
around
transition.
Moana, can we see it?
Yeah.
And look, this isn't like a case of I don't like these movies. These are actually two of my favorite recent Disney films. Like the Moana soundtrack is amazing. I love Lin-Manuel Miranda and I love his songs, right? And so I love that. And I also love Zootopia. When I saw Zootopia in 2016, they actually came out the same year, didn't they?
Yeah.
Dang. I went to see both of them that year, and I was like, I walk out 2016 Zootopia. I'm like, we need a sequel. We need a Disney Plus series, and we're getting those.
Not Disney Plus series at that time.
TV series. Yeah. I was like, we're getting those, right? Or at least a Disney Plus series, but it's not the way I want it. Like they're doing this whole Zootopia Plus thing. I want it like an adventure series of Nick and Judy solving crimes. Like I thought that'd be fun, but they're going this whole other way that I'm not sure how that'll work. Let's wrap it up here with then they were like, hey, anybody ever wonder what's behind Big Thunder Mountain? And I was like, yeah, it's a bus loop.
I was
drive
thinking
through it every day.
I was thinking probably more mountain. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, well, they said they were like, what if we had House Madrigal, right?
Yep.
Which is over on the right. They said, what if we had Coco? And it looks like Coco would be most of this, by the way.
Yeah.
This little center area and all the way up here. Unless the center area is not Coco. And
no, that's part of the town center. And then that part on the hill is the exhibit for, why can't I think of his name? His guitar, right?
Ernesto, right? Yeah.
Ernesto, yes.
He actually, they have him right now for the Halloween party. He looks great. Character.
Yes.
So I would assume that'd be some sort of ride with the underworld, right? Like, Land of the Dead or whatever. I think that could be an entrance, like a queue for a ride. And then they have House Madrigal, which could be either like a walkthrough or one of those trackless rides, like Runaway Railway. I think you could do a lot of stuff with the house, going in different doors, and maybe like different tracks, like different rides. You're programmed for different doors, and you get to see different rooms. I don't know. You can do a whole bunch. With that. And then they were like, and then all the way back there we have the villain section.
Yeah.
Which I think could be fun. But I wonder how big this expansion could actually be. Like, so is like are we getting like one villain attraction back there? Or is it like I feel like a whole land would be needed.
I heard someone, it might have been you that said this, or it was in the video maybe that you sent me, of like putting the villain's land technically back behind the railroad tracks, right?
Yeah, that was
So
in the
like,
video. So the
yeah,
video, by the way, is by DSNY
newscast, yep,
newscast. Yeah,
newscast,
it's
yeah.
a good video. They have like he has like aerial shots and everything. If people want to see that, it's great.
Yeah, and so it would make narrative sense, I think, to have like, you know, a pathway underneath the railway, right? Where you can where like the villain's track is on the other side, because then it's like outside of the like typical boundaries of the park. So it's like, oh, the villains have been banished away, right? Like they're out here, they're being held out there. And it almost reminds me of if I'm not sure if you ever saw like you might not have, the Disney Channel original movies, the Descendants movies.
Yeah, I've seen them because my nephews watched them.
Okay,
Yeah, not
yeah,
like the full things. I've seen enough.
yeah,
of them.
but like they're in that world, the villains are on like a separate island outside of
Yeah.
everything else. It reminds me of sort of that concept, which I don't know, it could work. You know, I think it could work, and this has been teased for a while and rumored for so long, right? Like the idea of a villain's land, and I wonder what villains they would choose to represent in it, right?
Oh, Maleficent would definitely be. I feel like there's hints of Maleficent here.
Yeah, like the concept art looks very much like that castle that the final fight is in, right? Like that.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like. And then I would not be opposed to something related to Cruella de Vil. I think that would be interesting. Other villains.
So it depends on what they want to do, right? Because look, how much is Facilier in the Tiana journey?
I don't think he can be, because he's like, dead.
He'll make an appearance. I feel like they always do that. They'll make an appearance.
Maybe, yeah.
But he fits in here. I think Hook would fit in here. I think,
yeah.
Ursula, Maleficent, right? Like, I feel like you're going to get all the basics, and then you're going to get some newer people like Facilier. You're going to get, I don't know. We haven't had that many really new villains lately. It's been like, you know, Elsa had Hans, but most of the villain was like, I got to get to know my sister better. I got to stop being, you know, the way I am, and accept myself and all that kind of stuff. And like, Encanto didn't really have a main villain, right?
No, the villain was generational trauma. Like that.
Yes,
that was the villain.
And colonialism. All right. So you had some stuff like that, but you don't have too many recent villains because they've really branched out their typical storyline. So I think you would get a lot of the classic ones.
Hades.
Yes, yeah, he would fit well here.
Yeah, that would be a good one right there. Maybe Scar? I'm not 100% sure on that.
So before we wrap up, kind of like the last question I have with this is, what is this all called? Is this one land with the villains and these, or is this like we're going to have a land based off of Coco and Encanto that is named, I don't know, something that fits the region that they're from a bit more, and then have a villain land separate? Or is this going to just be part of Frontierland? Like, what are we going to call this?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think you can name it cohesively with everything being there. It just wouldn't work. I think more like, I mean, you could kind of group and say, oh, Coco happens in Mexico and Encanto happens in Colombia. So like Central South America. But no,
but it doesn't fit the naming of Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Either. So like, there's got to be something. I don't know.
Yeah, It seems weird to like think of Magic Kingdom having something other than those named lands, because there hasn't been an expansion of a different land for Magic Kingdom. There's been New Fantasyland, or actually that's wrong. Storybook Circus.
Well, Storybook is considered part of Fantasyland.
Is it? Is it?
Yeah,
okay.
it's new. It's part of New Fantasyland. Yeah.
Okay. So it would be intriguing. It would be intriguing to see if this actually happens. I think I feel like given how much it's been rumored, the Villain's Land is going to happen some point or another. I feel like it's going to, because it would make a lot of sense for them to do it. I wish they would save Encanto for a World Showcase Pavilion in Colombia or something like that. I wish they would, because World Showcase lacks any representation from South America.
Mhm.
Like any. It is beyond Oceania. It's the only continent not represented. Right? I feel like that would be perfect. But I don't know, because Norway with Frozen ended up taking a lot of the space that could have been used for another pavilion, and
they still have expansion pads. They can make it work.
Yeah.
What I want to say is I really think that I like this idea. I'm really more excited about this than what they've come up with for Animal Kingdom.
Well,
So
I think there might be some bias.
well, not just
speaking
because of that, not just because of that, but I think these things fit, right? Like I think Encanto is a magical house, right? That
Mhm.
fits with Magic Kingdom. What I would do is, I know that there's an Adventureland expansion pad. I would expand Encanto and Coco into Adventureland. I think that fits a lot better with going on adventures and Adventureland. I don't know. I think you can fit that better. And then I would save all of that Big Thunder expansion for villains. I worry that this is going to become so grand that they actually cut it down and we end up with a lot less. So I would love to see instead them have a lot more room to work with for both of these areas, instead of trying to fit all three in one. And I think then you don't have to worry about the name of the land, because two of them would fit very well with Adventureland. They just come up with a name for the villain land, and then end it in land, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Dangerland.
Dangerland.
Yeah.
Real quick, do you have a top 5 of projects that you're most excited for, excluding Blue Sky stuff?
Yeah, excluding the Blue Sky stuff. So this is how I have to go with it. Number 5.
Okay.
I will say is going to be, and this is for all the stuff or just the parks?
Just the parks.
All right, let's go.
And I guess the cruise. Anything in this presentation.
Let's go Figment meet and greet. 5.
Okay.
4, I'm gonna go Hatbox Ghost.
Okay.
3, I am going to go with Pacific Wharf, San Francisco.
Yep.
And 2, I'm gonna go with Mando and Grogu at Galaxy's Edge, and 1, I'm gonna go with the Multiverse Avengers ride.
All right, we have a lot of similarities because my number 5 is the Hatbox Ghost returning. As I mentioned when we talked about it, iconic character finally coming to the Magic Kingdom Park. Very cool. Number 4, I have the Disney Treasure reveal.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Disney Cruise Line ships. I'm very excited for that. It looks fantastic. The lobby looks great. I can't wait to see like more details about that coming out. Number 3, I have the San Francisco retheme of Pacific Wharf. I think there's a lot of potential there to revitalize that area of DCA. Number 2, I have the new information on Tiana's Bayou Adventure and new concept art. It's given me a lot to get excited about, I think. I really like the otter with the violin. It's not just because of that, but it definitely helps. And then number 1 is the unnamed Avengers Multiverse ride. It was like the staple attraction that they were proposing when Avengers Campus was announced,
but
right?
better.
Yeah,
so many versions of these characters.
It seems like the time that it got delayed. I mean, I guess technically the first one got canceled, but has made
I don't know
the
if it
idea
was ever officially canceled or not. I think they've just kind of been like, you know what, they probably just were like, let's put it on hold. And then during that time, they were like, well, what if we changed it to this? I think because at that point, Endgame was just out, like when they announced this thing, and now it's like Endgame's gone, right?
Yeah, so I think that this is huge. I think this is huge, and it also feels like it canonizes more of of Avengers Campus to the wider MCU, because you can say, oh yeah, this is legitimately just a multiversal world of it. Like, that's always kind of been the assumption behind it. But I feel like this fully canonizes it as something like that, which is awesome.
What I've heard people say is that Avengers Campus is in a universe where Thanos never snapped.
I could see it. Yeah.
I think that's the official story behind it, and that's
maybe.
why like Iron Man's still alive, and why like Pete, all these characters are still around. But
yeah. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's huge, and also it's worth noting the first time the Avengers will be included. Like, the Avengers will be included in an attraction in US based Disney parks, which I think is a huge step forward, because Avengers Campus is cool because you get to meet like the Avengers, but now you actually get the attraction based off of them. Like, yeah, Spider-Man, I guess you could technically say kind of an Avenger. Doctor Strange, kind of an Avenger. Not official members, I would say. Or at least that hasn't been made official, because we don't know the Avengers status really in the MCU at this point. But yeah, I've rambled on long enough about it.
I would say they're Avengers, but this will be great to have a whole team up of all the Avengers. Like, this is what is so exciting about it, right? Is that we get to see, like, look, Paris has an Iron Man ride, right? Hong Kong has an Ant-Man ride. They're all scattered. Guardians has a ride in Epcot. They also have Mission Breakout in California. Spider-Man has his own ride over there. We're getting no other Marvel ones over here, right? So far.
Right, yeah.
They're all kind of scattered amongst the winds, which is fine, because you're like, oh, I want to eventually hit all these places anyway. But to be able to have one place to go and say, I want to ride with all of them, right? And I want to ride with the cartoon Spider-Man. I want to ride, and we're going to take on King Thanos. I love that they made up their own variant for this. He looks great. And that's the thing. And this is why I'm so happy that it's not gone, right? Because that was the whole point of the original ride, is that you're going to team up with all the Avengers. You're going to take on Thanos and Wakanda. And now they're like, well, what if we branch that out a little bit more? And now they probably have more rights to characters, or wants to put more characters in, like Daredevil, like Werewolf by Night is gonna be in this. If this is anything, Man-Thing is showing up. Like, they have so many more characters now that they're able to drop in here and say,
yeah, like,
if Avengers don't even have a ride in Universal,
right.
It's just Hulk,
they have, because
Spider-Man,
Doctor Doom has one, right? Like, pull up that graphic one more time, because I just thought of something. Think about how many of these characters didn't exist when they were coming up with it, right? Like, how many characters just got added? Because if you're talking about this released earlier, you would have Thor, Iron Man, the live action Spider-Man, you would have Shuri, you would have Black Widow, you would have Captain America, you would have Falcon, not Sam as Captain America, you'd have Hulk, you'd have Black Panther, and you'd have Doctor Strange. You're cutting out like 60% of the characters that are included in this with before that. So the fact that I think the time has served this concept well.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it so exciting.
And I think also is, along with those characters and the changes, right? Like, I think they have a more chance of being like, we have more room to play with, because it's not fixed in a point now. The fixed point before was pretty much the Infinity War battle, right? Like, they didn't say that. They're just like, but you go to Wakanda and you take on like Thanos as an Avenger, right? So at that point, you're thinking, all right, we're going to have pretty much the Infinity War Endgame type battle against these people. And now they're able to just create a whole new story. King Thanos is from a whole nother world. How does he get here? What do they do? What makes them all pull in these heroes together? That's what we get to experience. And that's a lot more interesting than just fly to Wakanda and take on Thanos.
Yeah.
It's you have your whole, every character you ever loved in this thing is battling with you, and that's fun. Okay, I think we talked long enough, and I'm sure you probably feel like you listened long enough if you're listening at home. If you want to follow us on Twitter at BT Disney Podcast, Facebook.com/Behind the Dreams Podcast, Instagram at Behind the Dreams Podcast, YouTube Behind the Dreams Podcast, email us Behind the Dreams Podcast at gmail.com. I'm going to be streaming on not streaming, I don't know. I'll be posting some YouTube videos of the new Disney game Dreamlight Valley. Kind of like a Sims mixed with Disney, mixed with some other stuff. Animal Crossing, it's usually compared to as well.
Kind of looks like that, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to be putting some videos of that on my Youngster Jordan account. So I'll put a link in the notes or whatever. But I bought the game, so I'm going to play some this weekend or over the next week and put some videos up. Anybody's curious on what that game is going to look like. I've heard the story is very good. It's got some good reviews, and people really seem to dig it. I looked at all that stuff before I bothered to buy it. So, all right, Jack. Anything you want to promote before we head out of here?
I mean, if you like soccer, you can follow the soccer podcast I'm on at Final Third Show. But that's about it. I really don't have that much to promote. But yeah, it was fun coming on here and talking more about D23. I think it gives some things to be excited about for the future.
Yeah, I agree. I think all the people complaining are just, I get it. It's a celebration for the 100th year, right, of the company. They were doing a whole celebration of that, and there's going to be a celebration at the parks, or at least Disneyland, that we didn't get to. But I don't know what else to say. It's just like they had a whole COVID thing that a lot of stuff got shelved. Be happy we even got stuff to talk about at this rate, because I was really expecting an update on the Journey of Water, maybe an update on the Avengers ride if that was still happening, and opening date for Tron Cycle, and we got all that stuff and more. So I don't know, I'm feeling pretty good about it. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and we will catch you next time. We'll come up with some sort of topic to talk about if there's no news, and we'll see you next time.